Imagine a day so bloody that you could walk across a battlefield for a mile without your feet ever touching the dirt because you're stepping on bodies the entire time. Now imagine the man who saved the country from that nightmare, the legendary Abraham Lincoln, finally seeing the finish line only to be taken out by a bullet 5 days later. This isn't just history, it's the most violent, high-stakes, how did we survive this chapter of the American story. 600,000 dead, a nation ripped in half, and it all started because two versions of America were living under one flag, and they were both reaching for the detonator. By 1861, the U.S. was basically a house on fire. In the North, things were moving at 100 miles an hour, factories, railroads, and big city hustle. But in the South, the entire economy was built on King Cotton, powered by the forced labor of 4 million enslaved people. It wasn't just about money, it was about the future. Every time a new state joined the map, the same question popped up: free or slave? Whoever won that debate controlled Congress. For decades, politicians tried to fix a sinking ship with duct tape. The Missouri Compromise, the Compromise of 1850, basically saying, let's just ignore this for 5 more minutes. But in 1860, the tape snapped. Enter Abraham Lincoln. This guy wasn't some elite politician born with a silver spoon. He was born in a literal dirt floor log cabin. He taught himself law by candlelight after a 12-hour day of splitting logs. People called him Honest Abe because he once walked miles just to return 6 cents of change. He had grit, he had character, and most importantly for the South, he had a problem with slavery expanding. When Lincoln won the presidency without a single Southern vote, the South didn't even wait for him to move into the White House. South Carolina dipped. Then 6 more states followed. They formed the Confederate States of America, the CSA. The breakup was official. The war didn't start with a massive invasion. It started with a grocery delivery. Fort Sumter, a Union outpost in South Carolina, was running out of food. Lincoln tried to play it cool. He sent bread and beans, no guns. He was basically trying to deliver DoorDash to avoid a war. The South wasn't hungry for snacks. They were hungry for a fight. General P.G.T. Beauregard opened fire. For 34 hours, the harbor shook. Miraculously, nobody died in the actual battle, but the message was loud and clear. The United States was at war with itself. Lincoln called for 75,000 volunteers. That just made things worse. 4 more states joined the rebels, including Virginia. This was the jackpot for the South because it brought in Robert E. Lee. Fun fact, Lincoln actually offered Lee the job of leading the Union Army first. Lee hated slavery and secession, but he couldn't bring himself to fight against his home state. Everyone thought the war would be over by lunch. During the first major battle at Bull Run, civilians from D.C. actually brought picnic baskets and wine to watch the show. That show turned into a horror movie real quick. This is where Thomas Jackson earned the name Stonewall for holding his line like a beast, sending the Union troops and the picnickers running back to D.C. in a total panic. While the East was a mess, a quiet, cigar-chomping general named Ulysses S. Grant was crushing it in the West. His vibe? No terms except unconditional surrender. No deals, no talking, just winning. But then came Shiloh. In 2 days of fighting, more Americans died than in all previous U.S. wars combined. The country realized this wasn't going to be a quick skirmish, it was going to be a slaughter. Back east, Lincoln had a general problem. He hired George McClellan, a guy who looked like a hero but was terrified of actually fighting. He was the king of excuses. Lincoln eventually got so fed up, he told him, "If you don't want to use the army, I'd like to borrow it for a while." When McClellan finally moved, Robert E. Lee humiliated him. Even though Lee was usually outnumbered, his tactical genius made the Union look like amateurs. Then came the ultimate plot twist. A Union soldier literally found Lee's secret battle plans wrapped around some cigars at an abandoned campsite. It was the golden ticket. McClellan had the playbook. The result was Antietam, the bloodiest single day in American history. In the sunken road, Bodies were stacked 3 deep. By sunset, 23,000 men were gone. It was a draw on paper, but it gave Lincoln the political win he needed to drop the big one, the Emancipation Proclamation. Now, the war wasn't just about keeping the country together, it was about freedom. 1863 was the do-or-die year. Lee decided to invade the North, ending up in a small town called Gettysburg. This was 3 days of pure chaos. Day 2, a guy named Joshua Chamberlain ran out of ammo on a hill called Little Round Top and ordered a bayonet charge downhill. It was a total movie moment that saved the Union line. Day 3, Lee went for the Hail Mary, Pickett's charge. 12,000 Confederates marched across an open field into a wall of Union lead. It was a suicide mission. As the survivors limped back, Lee was in tears, whispering, "It is all my fault." On the same day, Grant captured Vicksburg in the West. The Confederacy was officially cut in half. Lincoln finally put Grant in charge of everything. Grant's strategy was simple: grind them down. He knew the North had more men and more factories. It was brutal. Meanwhile, General William Tecumseh Sherman was sent to Georgia. He practiced total war. He didn't just fight soldiers, he burned crops, ripped up railroads, and broke the South's spirit. He captured Atlanta just in time to get Lincoln re-elected, then marched to the sea, leaving a 300-mile path of destruction. By April 1865, the South was a ghost. Richmond was burning. Lee was surrounded. He met Grant at Appomattox Court House to surrender. The contrast was wild. Lee showed up in a pristine, gold-braided uniform. Grant showed up covered in mud, looking like he'd been sleeping in a ditch. But Grant was classy. He let the Confederates keep their horses and gave them food. No arrests, no executions, just go home and be Americans again. Lincoln finally put Grant in charge of everything. Grant's strategy was simple: grind them down. He knew the North had more men and more factories. It was brutal. Meanwhile, General William Tecumseh Sherman was sent to Georgia. He practiced total war. He didn't just fight soldiers. He burned crops, ripped up railroads, and broke the South's spirit. He captured Atlanta just in time to get Lincoln re-elected, then marched to the sea, leaving a 300-mile path of destruction. The war was over. The Union was saved. 4 million people were free. 5 days later, Lincoln went to the theater to finally relax. He was laughing at a joke in a play when John Wilkes Booth stepped into the box and pulled the trigger. The man who guided America through its darkest night never got to see the sunrise. The Civil War changed everything. We stopped saying the United States are and started saying the United States is. It was a 600,000 life price tag. To prove that all men are created equal wasn't just a fancy sentence, it was a promise worth dying for.